first question is for both of you. What will you do to help the second district? Go ahead.
Second district is the one district that we see a lot of growth happening. We currently have a young woman snapper up there who's really got a tiger by the tail now. He really does. But we have candidates who are already being talked to, and I've already talked to at least one candidate who is very serious about running, a young man who wants to run. And I don't know, did he make it today? Did Dan make it? Dan's here! Yay! Our own Dan who wants to run to represent second district. So how can we help? First off, I think it's training for grassroots the organizations. We're not the community organizers like Acorn. We're the Republican organizers. And what it is that it's about how do you do it, what do we need to do, what are the tools that you will need. I've already had a training program put together. I did one last Saturday at the Sovereignty Conference on what it is to make a plan and build your party. And I've done national trainings for seminars, and that's one thing I know how to do is how to train people. But the second thing you have to do is that you have to give them the tools to know what to do. It's not enough to just sit in a room and talk about it. How do we go out there and make it happen? It's talking to your neighbors. It's having these pieces to work with at your county fair. How do you organize a county fair? How do you get your message out? I also want to tell you that I'm involved with the Reclaiming Oklahoman Christ. That's the thing that my pastor put together, and I do that as the Christian side of me. And believe me, faith does impact my politics, and that's why I'm involved. But we started 4 years ago. This will be our 4th year, with about 120 people in the room. Last year, we had over 1,200 people who came to Reclaiming Oklahoman Christ. I give them credit because they were Christians who were so concerned about their nation that they got up out of their pews and went and worshiped candidates. That's what we can do in 2nd District. We have the ability, we have the people here, but it's how do we work together and make it happen so that we're not duplicating efforts and that we're really being productive in what we do and getting our message out. As when the message is out there, we win as Republicans because we know there are 3 things in Oklahomans we know Oklahomans support. Just because they marked a little line last year in 2008 doesn't mean they're Republicans because we still have a Democrat majority in the Republican registration. They believe that it's so. They're pro-life. We know that. They're pro-family. They passed a marriage bill that says marriage is between a man and a woman. They are about limited government. They don't want us overspending. And that's 65% plus. We just got to get the message out there so that they then know that the brand of the Republican Party is, oh yeah, that's what the Republicans stand for. And then a Brad Henry and a Dan Boren should not come in and co-opt our message. That's what we have to do right now. Today is when we start that, is getting the message out. Because they will vote for the person and the principle, not the party. We just happen to be the party that has the right answer. So we just have to motivate and do it. That's what I think. I don't know.
First of all, what you have to do, I ran for chairman in 2003, and I had the support of the 2nd District, and what I said, what's amazing is when they had the candidate forum at the Henry, I didn't know the 2nd District was going to be voting to endorse one candidate. But what I said was that we will never be the majority party in this state till we understand that rural Oklahoma is different, and that we have to go out and talk about the things that people in rural Oklahoma care about. And since that time, we have picked up 26 seats in the Oklahoma House and Senate. 24 of those seats are in rural Oklahoma. We've lost 6 seats, 4 of those are in the metropolitan areas. And I will tell you that the way you win in rural Oklahoma is, first of all, you go out there and you talk to them about things they care about. You know, I helped Dwayne Woodruff and many of you in Stigler, Oklahoma, actually fix the brisket dinners to invite people in to talk about what we believed in. And the 150 people that showed up, probably 50 of them were Republicans and 100 of them were Democrats. But we talked about things that we have in common. And what you do, you are able to attract people based on the things that you have in common. I have traveled throughout this state, virtually every county in the 2nd District. We had the first Republican convention that we can remember in Choctaw County in Hugo at 7:30 on a Tuesday morning, because that's the only time that people could meet. There were 12 people that showed up, but you know what? We can't even remember when they had a meeting in Hugo. But as I was leaving, there were 25 people sitting at a table, most of them farmers. You could tell they were locals. And I walked up and gave them my card, and they said, you know what, we're with you. We're sick and tired of what these Democrats in Washington are doing And he said, everybody's with us except for maybe this one person. And I guarantee you, of those people at that table, there probably wasn't 2 registered Republicans. But we've got to get out there and talk about what we believe in. I live in a town, I don't live in a town, I live 7 miles north of Chattanooga. How many of you even knew there was a Chattanooga, Oklahoma? But what had happened, it had happened before 2003, we had let the Democrats label us as those rich Republicans from Oklahoma City and Tulsa. Chattanooga's a long way from Tulsa, a long way from Oklahoma City. You know, I'm dressed like this today because I got up this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and loaded the truck with hay until it was daylight so I could go feed the cows because it snowed and I knew I had to do that. And that's what people are doing in rural Oklahoma. When you go out there, you talk about, you know, people register Democrats many times because they want to vote in the local races. You know, sometimes when it rains and the roads are muddy on a gravel road, the county commissioner is more important to you than the governor. And people in Oklahoma City and Tulsa don't understand that. So we've got to go out there and talk about the issues they care about. And I'll tell you, if Republicans can deal with rural issues, and we get those conservative Democrats that believe like we do to vote with us, then we'll win every time. Because in Oklahoma City and Tulsa, Democrats vote Democrat and Republicans vote Republican, but in the rural areas, they're really more apt to listen to what you have to say. And we've proved it based on the number of people we've got elected in those rural areas.
Oh, okay. You just tell me what to do.
Oh, okay.
You actually, well, the 2-minute answer and 1-minute rebuttal. I accidentally gave Cheryl 1 extra minute, so I gave you another 1. I could have evened that one up now. It's 2 minutes from now.
Mr. Gary, when you last ran for chair, you stepped down halfway through your term to run for auditor. Can you tell us whether or not that will happen again?
The answer to that is no. I have made a decision. I've announced it. I am not running for auditor. I will serve the full term as chairman. I'm the last chairman to serve a full term, and I've served 2 full terms. When I ran in 2005, no one ran against me. No one ever asked that question. And what happened was the stories that came out about Gene Stipe and Francis Stipe and Mike Mass, I uncovered all that. Myself and Representative Mike Reynolds took that to the FBI. But nobody was doing anything about it. And I said, I'm not going to let a crook get reelected and go unchallenged. So I met with some people. I met with Ernest Istuk, who was running for governor, and told him that I was looking at possibly doing this. He said, if you're even thinking about that, that's even on your mind. You need to go do that. And so I made a tough decision. I spent over $200,000 of my own money to run for state auditor. Because you know, I wanted to expose that scandal. And I'll tell you what, it made a big difference in 2008 when the Democrats tried to label the Republicans as those scandalous Republicans like what was going on in Washington. They couldn't do it in Oklahoma because not only were we revealing what they had done, we were getting them indicted and getting them convicted. So don't tell us that Republicans are scandalous and unethical when your guys were going to prison. So I am not doing that. My wife and I talked about it, and she said, Gary, it's too bad you can't run for office during the years you're chairman. I said, why is that? She goes, Republicans always do better. It's by design. It's the programs we have, the fact that we do everything necessary to raise the level for everybody. It's not about one race over another. We helped every single Republican in 2008, all the way down the ticket. We had a program that had 300,000 absentee ballots that increased the Republican turnout. We had a slate mail that included every single candidate that was running for office, so that whether it was the president or the Senate or the House or corporation commissioners or Congress, everything. All that stuff was done and designed to make sure we raise the level for everybody, and the results speak for themselves.